And I remember he shows up. I hear the guy. He goes, I guess they finally get set up. They're like in these woods next to me. He's like, "Our boys ready to go?" I guess he had a couple other people with him, and I almost was gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I'm ready." Just be like, "What the fuck?" Because they didn't know I was there. Because they was like in the woods, but I could hear them talking and everything.
Damn, just out of nowhere.
And I have a few ducks come over, and I'll be like, "Wah, wah, wah." Sure, after a while they knew I was there, but I probably could have shot a couple today, but I went out and I was picking up my decoys, and I have a few like fucking almost land on me. I was out there picking up, and they're like, "Woo," and then they'd flare off. I probably could have shot a couple, but those are wood ducks, and them motherfuckers are fast.
Man,
Fast.
I started playing Fable 3 again.
Oh yeah.
Night. It still has or it still has like your like how much money you made, how many kids you have, and it was just like randomly
Fucking
pop that
Jordan's
stuff
is high, ain't it?
His was like 16 or something like that,
Yeah.
if I remember right. Mine was 8.
How many kids he had?
Yeah, like how many kids
Like
you
on
can have in
Fable.
the
No, I
game.
mean, is that what you're talking about? 16?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, that motherfucker fucked everything.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's funny because even though like it's been so many years, it still has like all the stats and stuff like that. Now that I'm going back
Whatever
on,
mine was.
I can't remember. It pops up random names. It'll say like how much money you've made and all that stuff, how much you spent. You beat me on like how much you spent like on your family, like. I don't know that stuff.
I
forgot
don't
what it's called.
remember. I haven't played that in so long.
Yeah, that's.
That was like
that
360 days. That's been years.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can play it on Xbox One right now. That's how I'm doing it.
I could. It's on Game Pass as well. I could play. I thought about downloading it at one point on Game Pass on PC because
We
it's
need
on
to
here.
get everyone to get on Forza again.
I still have it downloaded.
He's
on
ready,
Xbox.
man. He's been ready. He's
Oh,
been
yeah.
waiting.
See, Dylan messaged us the other day.
Yeah, I don't think.
But I was asleep, so I didn't.
Oh,
you know. So I don't know, that kind of sucked. But some person actually joined my game too. I was so surprised. I was thinking, I was like, yeah, I was like, I'm probably the only person playing it right now. Some other dude joined it. I was like, what the hell? So I heard it and backed out real quick and kicked him out and
Jake,
set it private.
my old friend Jake, that I kind of had a falling out with when I lived here before. He was like, last thing that me and him ever did together was we went to town and we were like looking for like last fun thing I guess we ever did together was when we were in Conway. We went. He lives in Conway. We went more into Conway then. I looked at all the gaming places to see if they had Fable. I think a specific Fable. I think he wanted Fable 1 or something. But either way. So I know some people are still out there playing it. Some people still out there playing that game, yes sir, Reba.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of surprised. I wasn't expecting it.
Mm.
So, I mean, I turned it from private to like public. But then, like, I got like 20 minutes in, and I got to like an important part, and then someone joined it. And I was like, "Nah, fuck that." I was like, backed out real quick. So
You know what we should
we're
do?
good now.
Is one day. Is that?
What up, PK Drummer?
One
How you
day we
doing, man?
should. You know how people they do those, they do like live YouTubes and they watch a movie.
Yeah.
And, like
Yeah.
other people do.
Yeah.
We should
I thought
get
about
like
that.
a scary fucking movie
Yeah.
and just all fucking watch it.
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
And just
Can't
like-
monetize it, but oh well.
Well, I mean, not actually play it. Well, you do play it, but instead of like, I mean, you can't like actually play it because
Yeah.
it's copyright shit. But like you watch it,
You
but
cut it down and stuff.
no, like you watch it and then you tell the listeners or whatever, whoever has it, be like, hey, start the movie right now, and then you can watch it with us.
Yeah. You tell them like which like you're like on the title screen, or you tell them like which you see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll line it up with you.
They line it up with
Then
it,
you
and
start
then they all play at the same time, and then you watch it all together.
Is that
That's what
happen
they
a
do
lot
on
like
YouTube.
that?
Yeah, on YouTube.
Well, I mean, I was thinking you were talking about like Funhouse and Achievement Hunter. They actually have it
Yeah,
have the
they do
movie
it.
on.
Oh, do they?
But they watch older movies that are like either
yeah.
royalty free
They,
now.
well, I mean, they
or-
watched Pacific Rim. That's how they did it. It's
Yeah.
like they had it. Everybody set it up.
Really.
That's how they did
That's
Pacific
how
Rim.
I think that's where I'm.
Hashtag Beard Nation. What are you guys doing? What's this about? We're about to record, but we also stream live our podcast, the Darksky Gaming Podcast. It's we just talk about different things, gaming related. This episode's going to be about PC, well not PC, but gaming hardware in general. But, I mean, we're going to touch on PCs, we're going to touch on monitors, consoles, controllers, I guess, just different hardware and stuff like that. But what was last episode about? Was last episode classic franchises?
Yeah.
Last episode we talked about classic franchises. We talked about a few things. You can also find the podcast on Podbean, Spotify, Google Play, and Apple Music and iTunes and stuff. So I got you right on. Hell yeah, man. So you can stick around. We're about to start here soon.
During the podcast also, we do not normally answer chat a lot, so if you message us in there and we don't answer you, mostly towards the end of the podcast we'll go back through the chat and message stuff, so don't be sad if we don't answer you back right away whenever you message on there.
Yeah, we do have a section where we talk to Twitch chat. Last couple episodes we talked to the Twitch chat the whole episode, but that's not a normal thing. We just did that for those episodes because they were like spur of the moment, and I think the last one just was one of those ones that while we were thinking of classic franchises, the chat was too when we were taking those suggestions and stuff. Hello Zenith, hello podcast. Can't be in stream for a bit because my internet's saying, that's fine, dude. Thank you for showing up and showing
appreciate
support,
it,
buddy. What games do you guys play? They play a lot of Escape from Tarkov and Rocket League right now, and I've been playing single player games, Witcher 3 and Doom at the moment. Tomorrow night I'll be playing Realm Royale.
What do you...
With,
You play with a controller on Witcher, don't you?
No, I play mouse and keyboard, actually. I used to... on PS4 I played with controller, obviously, but now that I was playing mouse and keyboard...
Do you like it a lot better?
The combat feels better.
Really?
It feels a lot more accurate, but I also turn my DPI down and stuff like that, and the in-game sensitivity up a little bit, so that it feels fluid and stuff like that, so I don't feel like
That's what I usually do with my stuff.
Yeah.
I keep my DPI the same for everything, and then I just adjust it in the game, which usually we run ours, even in-game, we run ours pretty low.
Yeah. I run 400 DPI.
See, I do 400 and then I have the other setting is 3000 because that setting is for stuff like League of Legends and stuff to where in-game sensitivity isn't going to help me. It just takes how fast the mouse is moving, so I turn that up. That way I can move the fucking mouse like really quick to wherever I need it to be. So, like that's 3000. I'm barely moving it.
That's too much.
And then
yeah, that's too much for me.
That's 400.
Yeah.
Alright guys, take care, I'm out. Follow for a follow. You can follow me, man. I don't really do the follow for a follow thing. I'm kind of against the follow for a follow thing. I was with it at first, but it's not a good way to get quality followers and stuff like that. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, man. If I follow you, I might watch you when you're live, maybe. But most of the people I've ever followed for follow, I never checked them out, and I've unfollowed later because I was like, I don't even watch this. So, I don't like a cluttered screen of people that I'm just not gonna watch any of them. So I don't really do the follow for follow thing. But you can follow me if you want. And really, if I follow you, I'll check your stream out sometime. But just don't expect me to keep the follow. But anyways, I guess we can start if you guys are good.
Yeah.
What's up?
I finished my drink already. He needs to make a big deal out of it. I was thirsty. It wasn't for the podcast. I was just fucking thirsty.
Yeah, we haven't had time to go buy sodas or anything yet.
Hey guys, welcome to the Darksky podcast.
Darksky. God damn it.
That's what brother called you.
Yeah,
Darksky. Welcome to the Darksky Gaming Podcast. We are here with Zenith Darksky.
God damn it.
And Sinfus. I am Bearded Morse. Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, guys, this episode we're talking about gaming hardware. So, I had to get that cough in there for some reason. But, yeah. So, here we are, guys. Intro!
Cue 90s porn music.
You like that most of the time I delete whatever bullshit we put in here.
Yeah,
right
I see
there.
that. I see that on YouTube. It's literally just us talking for a little bit. Then.
Oh no, I'm not talking about just on YouTube. Yeah,
No,
YouTube
like,
I do on
in the
on purpose.
podcast, like everything. Yeah, before it.
Yeah, if you go listen
like
to
the one where he's like, we ain't talking about porn, we're talking about shooters, and I was like, oh yeah, and then it went, oh yeah, and it went straight into the music. It was awesome.
See, I never listened to podcasts like on like Podbean and stuff like that because whenever you throw it up on YouTube, I like to see like what I did because like
honestly,
I don't remember anything.
I haven't watched any of them.
I don't. I'll re-listen to them at work or something like that, but I don't rewatch them on YouTube. I just do that for the people that miss the live interaction stuff. All right, guys. So like I said, this episode we're talking about gaming hardware. Now that entails everything from, because I want to cover all of gaming here, so that covers everything from, I don't know, we might talk about scuff controllers at one point or something like that, and gaming like console controllers and stuff anyways, consoles, PC stuff. Bearded might give you a rundown of a quick build or something like that, a budget build, and we might spend about 5-10 minutes on that or something like that, giving you guys a budget build, and we're just, anything gaming that would help in gaming or anything like that. Also, I guess we can jump over to the streaming hardware for like a little bit, like terms of cameras and stuff like that too. But yeah, so welcome to the podcast. Last episode was about classic franchises. If you haven't checked it out, go check out that episode. It was pretty fun. It was cool. We had a lot of Twitch interaction on that one. This one's going to be more kind of normal, and we're going to go back to the old, we'll have a section for the Twitch chat part. But anyways, yeah, we're here now, and I guess
first we talk about like what we're running.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, we can say our setups.
Yeah.
Give people an idea of what we run.
You want to start? Start at that side.
Yeah, I can.
It's like, oh.
Are we doing monitors too? Or?
Yeah, we'll do everything. Monitors.
Yeah.
Alright, so...
You save your camera stuff for later.
Yeah. As of right now, I run a 3 monitor setup. I got 2 24 inches, then I have like one 18-inch monitor. What else? But for graphics cards, I got a GTX 1080 with an i7 700 CPU. Was it 36 gigabytes of RAM?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, 36 gigabytes of RAM. That's going to be like the main stuff. Unless if you go for like mouse and stuff. I use a Final mouse as mine. Then, what's our keyboard again?
The HyperX Pro.
Yeah, we got that
gaming keyboard.
The 10 keyless.
10 keyless.
Small one.
Yep.
That's about pretty much all I run.
What you got, Bearded?
I have pretty much built my PC. I bought mine from Taylor. It was his old one for cheap, and then it couldn't run shit. So I bought a new graphics card. When I was buying graphics cards, was when everyone was doing that Bitcoin shit, and the prices of them were through the fucking roof. And so I bought a used GTX 980 Ti for $500.
Okay.
And that was, at the time, that was a good price. Now that you can buy them for like $100. But yeah, I run a 980 Ti NVIDIA or EVGA, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I run that, and then I've got 16 gigs RGB RAM. I've got a M250B motherboard. I've got i7 7700K CPU. Then I've got a 24-inch Asus 144 hertz monitor. And then a HyperX gaming keyboard, and I run a Razer Death Adder mouse. And everything runs just as good as just about anything else can.
Did you talk about your monitors?
I said mine was
Okay. Alright, I
24.
I zoned out for a second.
Synthes's monitors are also 144 hertz. Also.
Yep. You gotta have it. Plus, my main one as of right now is a curved, which really love the curve, but apparently a lot of people get like some kind of motion sickness from it.
I could see it.
Yeah, I like for me, I haven't had that problem. So if you do have like that motion sickness, I'd probably stick away from curved. Huh?
Don't you have messed up vision?
That could be it. Cause like I have one good eye and one bad eye.
Talking shit to me too much.
I always gets my left eye.
Yeah. Oh, it's me, my left eye. So, I don't know what it is.
Every time. I don't know. He'll swing from this way, but his fingertips will catch me.
I'll swing like this, and I'll be like...
His hand just always whips around. I don't know what it is.
So, if you do have that problem, I'd probably stick away from curved. But if you don't, I'd definitely recommend it. They're good looking.
Yeah, I've got 2 monitors. I've got a 20, what is that? I can't remember. I think 24 inch.
Yeah, it looks about 24.
24 inch, just HD, 144 hertz, 1 millisecond refresh rate monitor. Then my other monitor that I use for chat on a lot of the streams and stuff like that is just a fucking 1600 by 900, 21 inch. It's just an old monitor I had.
Cheap
and I just,
Dell.
Yeah.
60 hertz maybe.
Oh yeah, it's barely like it's 60 hertz, but it's like
barely.
Yeah.
Barely.
It's old monitor. But I make up for it on my PC because I've got an OP PC. I don't need it to be the way it is, but it was on sale. The motherboard was on sale, so they built PCs around this because I bought mine pre-built from iBuyPower. So, shout out iBuyPower, I guess. But, yeah, my processor is an i7 9700K. I've only got 16 gigabytes of RAM. My card is a RTX 2080, 8 gigabyte. The motherboard, which is the thing that was on sale, is the MSI Z390A Pro. My power supply is lacking a little bit. It's a 650 watt. Then it's got a hard drive, 2 terabyte hard drive, and a 240 gigabyte SSD. Then I'm running a Logitech G305 on the mouse and a Razer Black Widow Ultimate from a specific year. Because if you buy the Black Widow Ultimate right now that they have out, it doesn't have the macros on the side for some reason. So apparently that specific one from a specific year. So I'm glad Lamb gave that to me for free. So also I had a mouse that Simphus gave me for a while. It's a Logitech
G305, I think.
This is 305.
Oh.
It's something like that. It's close though. G3 something. I don't know where it's at. It's over here somewhere. Right there. G302.
Oh, two. A little bit older.
Just barely. But that's a wired one. I use a wireless. I guess we can roll that into talking about mice for a second. There's wireless and there's wired, if you're not aware. And people have varying opinions on those. Depends what game you're playing, really. Because if you're not playing any kind of competitive game, it doesn't matter. You can use whatever mouse you want to use. It does, whatever's comfortable for you, it doesn't matter. And ultimately, that's the idea anyways. If a big, gawky fucking mouse is the mouse you want to use on a competitive game, and that's what you're comfortable with, then go for it. But you're going to sacrifice, certain things. Like, the reason Simphus uses a Final mouse, I know, is it's extremely lightweight. It's got a bunch of holes in the, the cover for the mouse and everything like that. They're extremely lightweight mice, and that's kind of why they got so big. Aren't they sold out most of the time?
Yeah, they're really light, and they have a really good sensor.
Which one, yours?
The Final mouse. Yeah, super light.
I don't like it just because it's too straight.
His mouse?
Yeah. It's yours is even less than his is. Yours is just real straight, and I don't like that. See, I like mine
curved and
which right-handed, left. I don't even know if they probably do make left-handed mouse.
Yeah, they do.
I don't know how many people actually use them.
They make a lot of mouses where you can use both hands.
Yeah, ambidextrous. But I like mine having to where it is curved to fit in your palm a certain way where you can really get a good grip on it. Which yours ain't that bad, but his is.
I just use fingertips when I play.
His is a little bit. Which I do too. Like probably once I'm like getting into it. Most of the time I like having a whole hand grip.
Yeah. I have my whole just fingertips and my pinky stays on the table, and my pinky guides me. That way, if I'm going too far right and my pinky feels like I'm going off the mouse pad, I know that I need to readjust before I shoot somebody.
See, Simphus is a big fan of shooters and stuff like that. So obviously, he really cares about the weight and everything of his mouse and the accuracy of it and stuff because he needs to make those shots, make whatever shots he wants to make. Simphus Bearded Moors is. He plays a lot of those shooters and stuff too. He still prefers shooters and they play EFT together and stuff like that. But I know that Bearded probably doesn't care as much compared to Taylor about necessarily the weight or anything. He's like he said, it's more comfort thing for him.
Which I will say, I mean, you almost bought a Death Adder instead of the Final Mouse.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll get a little bit when I do the PC build. I'm not really gonna say specific things on what you have to buy.
Yeah,
it's more just you don't have to buy the most expensive shit to run good. Like what I said, I've got a 980 Ti. That's 2 generations old at least.
Yeah. It keeps up. It kept up with the 1080, and the 1080 almost keeps up the 2080. So I mean,
see what I'm saying is I've got that. As long as you have a good enough CPU, I mean, I run just as good as frames as y'all do.
Yeah. CPU is a really important part, especially with shooters.
That's the biggest thing. And if you're going to spend your money on stuff, I would spend it on the CPU. Other than that, you don't really need a whole lot of just really, really good stuff. And that's what I meant by a budget build. Yeah. You don't got to go buy a 2080 Ti or the biggest shit that if you get it on if it's a discount or something but like I said, I mean you can go buy a 980 Ti today for $100 or however much they are. They're not much at all, but I mean you don't need
I would
the
still
most
suggest
expensive stuff.
If someone was building a low budget PC, I would still suggest a 980
at least. I wouldn't get anything under a 980 Ti or under I'd say a 1070 in the 10 series.
Yeah.
Because a 980 Ti is almost the equivalent to a 1070 Ti, 1080, somewhere around there. But either way. But, I mean, for how old it is, I mean, that sucker keeps up. Yeah. Plain and simple.
Yeah. We can transition that into the... since we talked about the mice, we can go ahead and talk about keyboards as well.
Yeah.
Like I said, my Black Widow Ultimate, it has the macros on the side. It has 5 macros on the side, and you don't have to use that. Macros are more going to help you in RTS games or I guess Fortnite. Some people use macros in Fortnite to just do hit one button and quick build a thing around them and stuff like that. Because macros, for those that don't know, macros are something that you can go in and using the Razer software with this, I can program each one of these macros to do a certain thing, and it even takes the timing of whatever you did and stuff like that too. So say it was Fortnite or something and you wanted to put up a 90 really quick, then you would go to the programming thing.
Build it?
Yeah. You go to the programming thing and you you hit whichever button you want to do the macro thing, and then before you hit record, make sure you know what you're going to do and stuff like that and the buttons to push and stuff. And then as soon as you hit the little record thing, because that's basically what you do is you record an input, and then when you do it, it does the input for you. So then you would, swing your mouse, however many degrees or, whatever. It's a little harder to program macros like that, but I do know people do it. I did have a Fortnite macro just for stairs and a wall behind it. And it worked. I mean, I was throwing up those fucking stairs and walls really quick. But you have to be really accurate with it. And it took me, an hour or so to actually get it down to where it worked in game. I had to leave the game and go check it, or program it, and then go back to the game, check it, see if it worked. It's kind of time consuming, but, if you do it and on whatever game you're playing like that, or you could just have it simply as other buttons on the side that maybe you don't like to reach over here on this side of the keyboard for. Or, there's plenty of reasons to use that, but my main thing with the Black Widow is it's mechanical. I really like the clickiness of it. If you've ever checked out my streams or even some of my YouTube videos, super clicky. I just into it. It feels more satisfying. It sounds more satisfying. I had a keyboard at one point that wasn't really clicky, and when I was playing games, I'm gonna be honest with you, I know it's more of a mental thing, but it felt like I just wasn't pushing like the right buttons ever at the right time or anything. It was just, I don't know, it was really weird. It was a weird feeling because I was like, it just wasn't satisfying. Like when I'd hit R to reload or Q to do an ability on a game or something like that, it just felt like, I don't know, it felt like I wasn't doing it. And sometimes, so I'd tap it like a lot instead of just like with a one time or whatever, just because I felt like I wasn't hitting it, even though I knew I was. It was weird, but now that this is mechanical and stuff, it kind of alleviates that. So I'm just like tapping buttons really quick, and like I know that I hit them for sure. I can hear it, and then the macros on the side, obviously. Even though I have been interested in one of these 10 keyless keyboards before, because my keyboard is pretty big and kind of gawky. So Simphus, I guess, can give you an idea of what the 10 keyless does.
I mean, a lot of pros do use the 10 keyless because we're not going to use the numpad. We're mainly, because a lot of people, if you ever notice, a lot of pros have their keyboard turned sideways, and they play with their arm like laying on the table pretty much, and that's how they've always really played it. But it saves room because a lot of the tournaments, you're kind of packed in, so you only have so much space for your area. So honestly, the 10 keyless is just another way to save some space. So, because I have a giant keyboard, or no, I have a small keyboard, but I also have a giant mouse pad. I use the whole mouse pad, so I don't want a big keyboard.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's nothing special about it. It's just smaller. So if your desk setup, if you notice like when you're swinging your mouse over and you're hitting your keyboard by accident, then it's probably best to go ahead and just get a 10 keyless keyboard.
Oh yeah,
it'll make things a lot easier.
I had that problem a lot back.
I mean, how often do you actually use your 10 keyless type?
Oh, my numpad?
Yeah.
I use my numpad, but I use it for things to deal with Streamlabs and stuff like that. I use it as my Stream Deck basically, and I tap the different buttons for things. I don't actually use a numpad for the numpad, which bothers her because she comes in here and plays Sims, and she uses the numpad for different things.
And see, that's the thing. The only time that I still have my first keyboard I got, which has the 10 keys on it. The only time that I've used them is if I'm playing Diablo. When you play Diablo, you can... When I'm playing Diablo, you can hold the numlock key and then click one, and it'll make it where it can automatically use an ability anytime it's ready.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it don't. You don't really use it. I mean, I guess it all depends on what games you play. But I don't use it ever, so
No, neither.
getting rid of it just makes it so much more better, I think.
Yeah. Our fingers are all the way up by W. So I mean,
yeah,
that's a far reach.
Yeah, there's no strategical reason, I guess, to really have that going on. I just I use it for the kind of like Stream Deck, because since I don't have a Stream Deck, but hold on. But I don't know. I don't need it though necessarily, especially if I get, because I do plan on getting a Stream Deck eventually, an Elgato Stream Deck thing.
That'd be sick. I like them.
Sound like a dude, the chick that I'm gonna play Realm Royale with. She just recently got one, and she said it's worth it. She got a 16 key one, but
yeah, I've seen there's some there's some just 6. There's just 3 button or 6 buttons there. Super simple. Really you can put in what you want.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna spend the money on the bigger one just in case in the future, like if I think of, because to me, I'm gonna want one for recording. I'm gonna want like to push for to open up the other OBS because I record on that one because it's 1080. And you know, and I guess I can kind of veer off into Stream Decks for a second. If you're gonna stream, I would suggest a Stream Deck, but not at first. You don't need one at first. But later on, if you want to really improve your stream quality and stuff, you can have one, and it shortens times for like I'll push this button, go to OBS to record. I'll push this button to open Streamlabs to go live. I'll push this button, take me to Twitter. You know, if I need to go to Twitter right now. This button to change scenes on OBS from like starting soon to this one, and stuff like that. And I know Doc has one because that motherfucker's got so many fucking like different backgrounds and screens that he just clicks that shit and it's there, you know. So I would suggest a Stream Deck, but not really for anybody. Like starting out, you don't need one starting out. There's no reason to even have starting screens and stuff like that. Half the time, there's no reason to have a starting screen, anyways. There's plenty of big streamers that don't have a starting screen or be right back or anything. They do exactly what I do, which is I start the stream and, you know, give it 5 minutes or so before I actually start playing the game, unless I was already playing the game in the first place, and, you know, then just go into it. There's some streamers, though, that have, like, on their Stream Deck, they'll have, like, a video that plays or something like that at the beginning of their stream, or, you know, this or that. So, I'd say it's pretty good. I don't think it's necessary, but I'd say it is pretty good. But I guess we could veer off of PCs and stuff for right now, just for a second here, and go to consoles. First of all, we've had conversations on like what consoles we prefer and stuff like that before. Back in our first episode when we talked about next generation gaming, we talked about the old consoles as well, the ones we're playing on right now. I have a PS4. These guys have an Xbox One, but they mainly play on PC, and I mainly play on PC at this point. I will say PS5 and the next Xbox are both supposed to be $500 because they don't want to compete on price. They're going to compete with exclusive games.
Yeah.
Which is interesting to me. But, so we're not going to get into the whole console thing where we're like, which one do you prefer and stuff like that. We might veer off into, like, what controller do you prefer? Because I know, like, I've always preferred PlayStation. I've got smaller hands, though, and they're smaller controllers, admittedly. I mean, I'll tell you every day of the week, they're the smaller controller of the consoles, for sure. And I say that, but if you're counting Switch is pretty small. But still, yeah, super small controller. It fits in my hands real nice. It's comfortable for me. I like the pressure on the triggers and stuff like that it's not just a simple little, like, easy push. I know some people don't like that. I know some people really want the easy fucking trigger and stuff like that. And I know SCUF controllers, you can customize like what kind of triggers that you have on the back of the controllers and everything. Have you ever used a SCUF controller?
I have not. I mean, I've bought like the SCUF analog sticks. That way, because like back then, I didn't have a PC at the time. We played a lot of Call of Duty, so I was like, I might as well get some of these SCUF things because like I've always seen people have them. So I ended up getting the sniper ones. So they made the analog stick like 2 inches higher. And it was freaking crazy. Like they were way up there.
Yeah.
Took time to get used to.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know why people do that, because I didn't at first, I had to look it up. Because at first I was like, why would you want higher sticks like that? But it's because it takes a lot less to push it farther, easier and stuff like that. So, say you're holding a control stick and you push it all the way to the left. It takes that whole, like, I don't know, that's probably an inch of room or so that you're pushing over to the left or the right or something. Well, if you have one of those right there, it takes, I'd say, half an inch to move it all the way to the left. And, you know, it's just less movement to do more movement in the video game, which is good on shooters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What's your preferred? What?
Go home.
You going home?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
You gotta say your piece first.
Can you edit it to?
Yeah, I can edit it.
Peace.
There you go.
Well, she's having like a mental breakdown or something at home, so I made it all.
Okay.
I'm gonna take the meat with me.
Yeah.
And I'll come back tomorrow. You can come over or something tomorrow and we'll cook it at the house.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. All right. For those, because I'm gonna edit all that out and stuff like that. For those that don't know, Bearded Moors had to go home. He had kind of a family emergency type thing he's got to deal with right now. So it's just gonna be me and Simphis for the rest of this stream here, which is fine. We know plenty about the hardware and stuff. So going back to it, Xbox controllers were always too gawky for me, too big. Yeah. I know a lot of people really like Xbox controllers for some reason, and they complain about how, I guess it's the size, because I know a lot of people complain about how small PlayStation controllers are and how much they like how big Xbox is. What do you, like, what's your preference on the controller there? Because I know you used to be PS3 and stuff like that, and then went to Xbox.
Yeah. I mean, I've always had, like, a PlayStation 2 and stuff like that, so, of course, I ended up getting a PS3 when it came out. But I've always wanted to play Halo and stuff like that, so I was like, I gotta make the switch. So I switched over from a PS3 to an Xbox 360. And as soon as I did that, I noticed the controllers were way different, but since I had big hands, they just fit perfect. I was like, I fell in love with the Xbox controller instantly. Now, granted, whenever we went from 360 to 1, the controllers did change a little bit. But my hands are still big, so it didn't matter. It fit me. I mean, of course, I can understand if you do have small hands, you're probably not going to like it. But if you do have big hands, you're probably going to like the Xbox controller mostly. Yeah.
Controllers are one of those things that it's probably going to be more about comfort every day of the week. Like, like mice and stuff like that for those that aren't super competitive. It's just one of those things where it's like, do you want to be more comfortable or do you want to be better? On mice, and with controllers I feel like it's 100% do you want to be more comfortable, because I don't really feel like either one makes you better. At this point we played enough Call of Duty cross-platform on PC that we've realized that that aim assist on either console is going to kill us a lot of the time still.
You'll see them locked onto our heads and we're just like,
oh yeah, but there was that fucking kill cam on that one that
it was just,
was it on, I think it was on you
head. Yeah.
Where fucking you like ran around a corner or something like that, and this dude fucking just right on your head, just kept it on your head the whole time. We were like, look at that aim assist.
He sprayed and just every bullet went straight into my head.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I can't beat that. I was like, if it's a one shot, one kill, I have a chance. But I was like, when I start shooting, my bullets are gonna go up.
Yeah, you gotta account for the recoil with a mouse on controllers. You don't really have to.
I have no assist there, so makes it a little bit harder. But I like the challenge. So.
Yeah. I'll use that to venture into monitors for a second as well. And this is where Bearded was probably going to get pretty heated on us.
What was it?
Monitors. Monitors. Because we have a certain outlook on monitors. Me and Simphis, we kind of share an outlook on it. While all right, first of all, I guess I'll just say. The reason I'm taking us into monitors right after controllers is because monitors can still be, you could still use, monitors can still help out on consoles, especially with Xbox One and PS4 Pro, the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro, because they do 60 FPS, and that with monitors will help a lot with the extra FPS and stuff. FPS is where this kind of stuff is going to get heated, because science says a couple things. I say that. Old science says this stuff, not new science. So let me reiterate that, because I've looked stuff up and it's a lot of times it's not updated stuff or there's no studies on it. It's just people saying stuff. I don't really know why, but I'll say that technically the old science says our eyes we can only react like we have milliseconds that we react to. We react so fast that it's down to milliseconds, which is insanely fast, don't get me wrong. And then it also says that our eyes can only perceive a frame rate of I think they say our eyes only perceive a frame rate of 60 FPS or something like that. And I'm going to tell you right now, the frame rate thing, guys, don't hate me for this. We're going to get a little hate for this, though, is bullshit. Because the frame rate, when you say frame rate, that implies that your eyes are moving, are taking frames in at a certain amount of time. They don't. They take in light. The light, bounces off things, reflects back to us at a certain speed. That's how light works in your eyes. That's how we see things. If light didn't exist, everything would be black all the time. And, well, not even black because we wouldn't be able to perceive light. I don't know. I guess black is no light. So, either way, everything would be black all the time. That's how light works. Our eyes do not work at a frame rate. They do not. Absolutely do not. We are not machines. The frame rate, the word frame rate comes from a camera shutter, like how quickly it captures frames of an image. So, like, how quickly it closes and stuff like that. Well, I'm not blinking 100,000 times a second here. Like, our eyes don't do that. That's not how we perceive things. Alright? There's a speed of light, like this, there's the speed of light, and that is at what rate we perceive stuff, and we react a little later than that speed of light. So, we see things, and then we react to it. So the frame rate thing's already out of the fucking door. Don't tell me we can't see 144 frames, because I guarantee you we can. Now, I'm not saying that you can literally see every single frame of 144 frames. Obviously, you cannot. But it is significantly smoother, and monitor having a refresh rate of like 1 millisecond, that's a 1 millisecond refresh rate basically says that every millisecond the screen will be updated with new information. So, or like new data or new movement and stuff like that every single millisecond, which is a portion of time that we can't perceive, like that we don't understand. So it's an incredibly small amount of time. So having 144 hertz monitor and millisecond refresh rate is gonna improve your gameplay. I don't care who says. Incredibly. Like, so for some people it won't. And I'm gonna cite the video that we us and Bearded often argue about, or not the website, the video. Did I say video? I don't know.
Yeah, I think you did.
the video that we often argue about, because Linus Tech Tips, shout out to Linus Tech Tips. I hear he's leaving actually.
Yeah. I heard about that.
He did a video where they tested with Shroud and some other pro gamers and stuff like that. Does like frame rate, refresh rate, and stuff like that help? Well, if you take Shroud and give him all these different frame rates and stuff, it's not gonna affect him very much, and it didn't. Like there were certain times that he was worse than he was on other things, so it didn't affect his gameplay a whole lot. His was always like just barely off of like his other stuff. But and same with the other guy who was used to 60 hertz.
Yeah, he was Overwatch guy.
Yeah, he was. He stayed pretty solid the whole time. He's better than Shroud at certain points. But what we need to look at is the guy who doesn't play games competitively, like isn't used to it. It was a normal guy in the video. This man put every we're missing one. Yeah, Bearded had to go due to a family emergency. But this guy, this normal average Joe guy, played at the 60 hertz, and then they did, what was it after 60? Or they did 60 hertz, like 1 millisecond, and then 60 hertz, like, regular. And then they did, like, 120 and 144, I think. Or did they do 144 and then 240?
I think it's 144, then 240.
Okay. Either way, that man's stats improved drastically every single time. Especially if you take his beginning stats to 60 hertz to 240. That man's stats increased incredibly. While the rest of them stayed kind of similar, but that's because they're used to playing the game competitively. So the hardware does help people. It might not help someone at a competitive level, except for like just a small little amount, but it did help the pro guys a little bit. Not much, and I'm not ever gonna say that it's gonna, if you're already a competitive player at 60 hertz, that it's gonna improve your fucking skill through the roof. It's just gonna be a little bit easier for you. it's going to be smoother. And I think that's kind of where us and Bearded kind of do get along in a way. He does agree that it is going to be smoother. But that's all it takes to see something faster and react to it faster. Because his argument, I'll get into his side of the argument now. His side of the argument is often, our brains only react so quick. Our reflexes are only so quick. When it gets down to something that is just to a millisecond, we're not going to react that quick because we react to a few milliseconds. But the smoothness and the refresh rate of the monitor showing things just a little bit sooner is ultimately going to help. And I mean, it's been proven now at this point. The Linus Tech Tips video kind of sides with us on that. Either way, so I'm going to take us out of the educational side of that because I just wanted to cover that real quick because I knew we were going to get in that argument with Bearded here, but he's not here, so I wanted to go ahead and give his argument for that. Even though it's going to sound one-sided anyways because I'm the one giving the information, but that's because I think this way. I'm biased. But so going back to it, say you're playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and you're playing on console or PC, the higher the hertz and like the frames that you can see and stuff like that, lower the millisecond, like the refresh rate, the better. Having said that though, you don't need to. I played on 60 hertz for a long time, and I got better when I switched. But I know, Simphus right here, he's always like been like a devout believer in the frame rate. Like he's He's like you wanted 240 hertz, right?
Yeah, because I used to play just on 60 hertz, and that's kind of when I started my whole Counter-Strike thing. And, I was getting high up there. I was almost got to global off a 60 hertz monitor, but
Jesus Christ.
then I decided it was time to finally get a 144 hertz monitor. I got that, and it just made everything so much better. Because whenever I had 60 hertz, I would notice when I peek around the corner, I would die, and I didn't see them. But they said they seen me. It always confused me, but they always said it was because of their monitor. So I finally bought a 144 hertz monitor. And so when I started playing against people that had 60 hertz monitor, I noticed the same thing. I started peeking out, shooting them, and they would ask me the same thing, saying they didn't see me there. On their monitor, I wasn't there. But for that split second, I seen them first because when I came around the corner, my screen already refreshed it, and they were there. But their screen didn't refresh yet, so of course I got the advantage on it. So that's why I always wanted 240 hertz. You don't really need one right now. I mean, a lot of the games it's hard to get 240 FPS anyway, unless if you just have an amazing computer. So don't really need it right now. But once computers start getting a little bit better, then you might want to start looking at it.
Yeah, and I'll also go into resolution for a second here. You don't need anything above HD. You don't need anything above 1080p. You can do 4K if you got a 4K TV, you have a 4K HDMI cord because you do need a specific HDMI cord for that stuff or display cord, whatever you're using.
I still play by 4x3 on Counter-Strike.
Yeah,
I don't even play 1920 by 1080. Yeah. I still play 720 by 480 or something.
There's another game that people play at a certain resolution that's not like HD either, and I can't remember what it is, or aspect ratio, I guess, but yeah, so it doesn't really matter. Whatever you think the game looks best in, or is easier for you, play at that resolution. And if you want a 4K screen or something like that, then sure. I don't see any. There's nothing that doesn't hurt. But if you're playing a game at a 4K and you're trying to play at a competitive level on PC or something, you're gonna start losing frames when you go in that 4K area. You're gonna start losing a lot of frames if your computer is not. You need a beefy computer kind of right now to play 4K, at the moment at least. So you don't need 4K. And I know I hear a lot of people say, well, when I'm playing a 1080p game on a 4K monitor, it looks better. It might. I'm not saying it doesn't. I don't have a 4K monitor. I
mean,
can't tell.
It just depends on what monitor they got. They could be using like
the colors might just be
different.
cleaner anyways, just because it's the
it might be a new monitor. It's new. It just looks brighter.
Yeah, exactly. My monitor when I first got it, it was refurbished. Looked fantastic. Now it's a little bit dimmer. It's a little bit duller. Nothing wrong with that. It just, it's getting old. It was old when I bought it, but it's just getting there. So it's one of those things. My fucking 1600 by 900 monitor over here, that thing is as dim as possible, dude. If I tried to stream and play that game in the darkness, like with no light on or anything, this one will keep my face lit up. I don't know if you've noticed that when I play certain games and stuff. Yeah. That one over there would not. Like, you would see, like, maybe the tip of my nose just because it's big. and, like, my eyes, like, reflecting. But, like, that's it. And, like, so, but it doesn't matter. Ultimately, you just use whatever monitor you want. If you want a fancy curved monitor, get a fancy curved monitor. If you want to put 4 monitors next to each other in like the little square and play the game like that, do that. I wouldn't suggest that because the middle of your screen is going to be where the crosshair or whatever we know that would be. But I know people that do it.
That'd be good for racing games or something.
I say that they have those monitors that don't have like the black edges and stuff like that they stick together. So I guess those would be fine, but for certain games. But if I was going to do something like that, though, I'd definitely do the 6 screen. The 6 screen thing, because then like the middle is on this bottom screen right here. Everything else is just environment, but it's cool, I guess. But you just do you. If you want to play on projector, play on a projector. If you want to play on a big ass flat screen TV, play on a big ass flat screen TV. From a competitive standpoint, the smaller but like HD resolution, so that you can get like high frames and stuff like that, so you don't need the 4K and refresh rate. That's where it's really gonna get in there at. But beyond that, we'll jump back over to the streaming stuff because I don't want to stay on one thing for too long. So we'll jump back over to the streaming stuff. What camera do you use for streaming?
The same one you do.
Razer Kiyo.
Can't go wrong with it. I got a buddy. He just started streaming, and one of his complaints is it's too dark in his room, so it's hard for people to see him. So he has to turn on his 55-inch like flat screen TV. That way people can actually see him. But the camera that we have has a light around it.
Yeah.
So we can just turn the light on, even though we can have it pitch dark in our room, but we can turn that on and they'll see us just fine.
Oh, yeah.
So that was one of the main reasons why I went towards that, because I always play with the lights off. So.
So that's one of the things a lot of people don't know, but the YouTubers and streamers, especially if they have like one of these HD cameras and stuff like that, have this thing called an O-light behind them. O-light is a big, round, like LED white light. Like, it's just a pure white light. That way it doesn't like give your stuff any kind of tint, any kind of, like if you're watching us live on Twitch or if you watch us on YouTube, you notice that the room kind of has like a blue light. That's because I have a bunch of kind of like LEDs that are kind of like an off-white color in here. But if I had those off and we were close enough to my Kiyo at this angle, then the O-light would light us up. It'd probably light us up good if I turned that light out. But it just, it would look, the rest of the room would look dark and uninteresting and stuff. But so the Razer Kiyo is a 1080p 30 FPS camera, but it can also do 720p 60 FPS. And I keep my camera on 1080p 30 FPS because there's no reason you guys need to see me fucking moving at a high frame rate. The game moves at a high enough frame rate. My shit's always at like 140 something hertz, like 140 something frames. So you don't need to see me moving at that same speed. So I keep mine on 1080p 30 FPS while the game and stuff like that is 720. Also, my output resolution is 720 60 FPS. So obviously the camera is still not recording at 1080, but it's just so when I switch to recording a video in 1080 instead of streaming, the camera's already in 1080, so I don't gotta worry about it. But it's one of those things that you could buy, a Logitech fucking C whatever camera, whatever they're using nowadays, C9250 or some shit. I don't know. Bunch of numbers, but following a C. But you could do that, and there are really good ones. There's Danik. She's a streamer, plays PUBG Really clean fucking setup. Her camera and stuff like that, her room looks fucking clean. But, and her camera is really good, and it's a Logitech. But it doesn't have a camera built, or it doesn't have light built in like the Razer Kiyo does. It has a built-in O-light around the camera. And sometimes that does cause a little glare inside of the camera. Usually I fix that by covering up the camera lens for 5 seconds maybe. And when I take my thumb away, it's gone. I don't really know why that fixes it, but I just tried it one day and it worked. So, but if it's doing that a little too much, maybe turn the light down a little bit, because you can adjust the light, how bright the light is and how dark it is. But ultimately, for $100, Razer Kiyo is 100% what I would suggest. And I mean, I've had mine for damn near 2 years now, and it's still working fine. It still does its job. I'm not having any problems with anything really on it. So yeah, I would suggest a Razer Kiyo.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I know you used a Logitech before the Razer Kiyo, didn't you? Didn't you have a different camera for a while? No, you didn't have any camera.
Because I never streamed with the camera.
Yeah,
that was the first one.
I forgot about that. Go back in your old videos and stuff and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the gameplay.
Hey, that works though.
Yeah.
Some people don't. You don't need a camera.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of people like Lyric. Lyric is one of the main ones you'll see. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have a webcam, but he's still one of the top streamers.
Yeah. See, I know. I've heard some. Not gonna name drop anybody, because ultimately I like the two dudes that I'm talking about here. But there's a couple guys that are out there on YouTube, and people will look up, what do I need to stream, and this stuff, and they would give some advice on streaming and stuff like. I say advice, they almost boss you around a little bossy. But I get why, because they deal with a lot of people asking dumb questions too. But they'll tell you need a camera. There's a lot of people that will tell you, a webcam will help. And I will say, I can't necessarily argue, because my stream, once I got a camera, I streamed like first couple days without a camera or something like that. And then when I started streaming and recording with camera, started getting higher views, it did help. But I think that's just because people are used to it, not really that they prefer it. They're just used to seeing your reactions to stuff, especially if you're playing scary games, which is a lot of what was going up on my YouTube at the time, was like Until Dawn and stuff. And, obviously people want to see you react to that. But if you're not playing anything like that, and you just want to go ahead and start streaming, I don't see the problem with going ahead and just start throwing out that content without the camera. And then when you get the camera, that's a perk, Be like, hey, I bought the camera, but at like this many followers or subs or whatever, I'm going to turn the camera on and we'll use it. People do that. It works fine. But you don't have to have a camera. Headset. What kind of headset do you use?
I'm not going to remember the exact one, but it's a Sennheiser. I love my Sennheisers. They're really good. Mm-hmm. Waldy says it's, or Bearded Morris says it's uncomfortable for him. But I think I've just gotten used to it, so it's comfortable to me. But really good headset. The mic is nice, because doing this whole streaming thing, I thought I was gonna have to buy a professional mic or something. But the mic on the headset is actually really clean. So if you don't want a professional mic and you want a good headset, then I would prefer. I'd get that. Sennheisers are pretty good about it.
Yeah. Now I know Sennheisers are a little expensive. They can be a little expensive.
Yeah, I think mine was like $130 or something like that.
So that's ultimately cheaper than what I'm using is. So that's not bad at all for a mic and a headset. How's the 360 audio and stuff like that in it?
Oh, it's great. I love the headset, because as soon as I hear a footstep, I know exactly where it's at. I mean, of course. If you don't play a lot of games, it might take you a little bit, but this is just years of playing with a headset on, so anytime I hear a footstep, I know exactly where it's at. But, a good headset will help, though. Yeah. It will kind of help you pinpoint where it's at, helps you get, an advantage on your enemy.
Yeah. Other than that, you could use, there's another one of those things that you could use a cheap headset. It doesn't really matter too much.
I use back on Xbox, I just use a white Turtle Beach. Yeah. I don't know if you ever seen them, but they were the X11s or something.
Yeah.
Super cheap. Because like, I don't know if you ever seen it, but sometimes they'll show it. Sometimes the headsets will have like 3 speakers and one side of the headset and 3 speakers on the other side. But some of them just have 2 or 1 big on each side.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, of course the 3 helps, but I mean the 1's fine.
Yeah. I use the HyperX Cloud 2 headsets. I know the mic is pretty good on them. I think Big Brother actually uses the mic on his HyperX headset. I don't know if it's Cloud 2, but I know I saw the mic here. I don't know if he was using that one though. But the mic on the HyperX Cloud 2 headsets is good. But I mainly use HyperX for the 3D audio. They're just really good about 3D audio, and I admittedly Stroud's sponsorship worked on me because I saw him using them all the time, and I saw a pair on sale on Amazon once, and I was like, I'll do it. I was like, I'll go with Stroudy. I'll go with old Stroudy Rowdy. And I don't regret it. It's pretty good. I don't use the mic on it, though. In terms of microphone, I use a Blue Yeti. And, I mean, you guys are hearing the quality of that right now. If you're listening, I'm not going to lie. I edit and I clean up the audio and stuff like that because you hear background noises. You'd hear pauses where we have to go do something or this or that. You know, so obviously I clean up the audio for recording. But for streaming, I mean, it's pretty good. I know one of my viewers, Uncle Terry, just got a new mic. He put a video on my Discord of him recording through OBS with his new mic just to show it off. And his is really clean too. Of course, I know he has like a cloth or something draped over his stuff, so he reduces echo and stuff like that in his room. My room's fairly empty, on the walls at least, so we don't I don't have anything that reduces echo and stuff. So you still get a little bit of that with these, but ultimately I think they're fine. I know PewDiePie really makes fun of Blue Yeti mics for whatever reason. He says something about the volume. He says because it seems like a lot of people are really loud, but when I record this, I have to amp up our volume. Like it records us just fine. It sounds fine. It sounds fine when it's turned up. It's just for some reason I have to amp up the volume when I record music. I do. I don't know what it is. I guess it's people that turn up their gain too much, probably. I have my gain as low as it can go. But if you turn up your gain and you hear a lot of like in the background and shit like that, but that's going to be any mic, you know. Honestly, the best thing for you to do if you want the best audio quality, if you're just really an audiophile like that, in terms of hardware, like mic hardware, get yourself a sound deck, like a sound mixer. Plug it up through that and then plug it into your computer, and you can really, really adjust the sound of it and stuff like that on there. And that's probably the best quality you're ever going to get is take almost any mic and plug it up through that, and it's going to sound 30 times better if you just really know what you're doing. But ultimately, if you're just playing video games, though, if you're just gaming with friends, just get a headset, a Razer headset, Turtle Beach. Turtle Beach is less good than they were, I guess, but Turtle Beach, hell, I used to use Skull Candy earbuds, and they had a mic on them when I was playing games back in the day, and that was fine. So ultimately, it's one of those things you don't need necessarily unless you're trying to be competitive. And obviously, a lot of our stuff is going to come from a competitive standpoint because we've all tried in some way, or we all try to be as good as we can be at certain video games and stuff. So we want the best technology and stuff like that. It's going to help us. I will give a shout out though. Audio Technica mics are really good quality mics. That's a lot. Like Audio Technica are going to be a lot of those mics people use for ASMR. I know some of them use Blue Yetis. It's another one of those things. It's like, what are you trying to do? What? So I'm trying to give you guys the best answer for both of those things, and then what we use. But I don't know. Didn't you think about getting a different mic at one point? I know you were okay with the Sennheiser, but I was pretty sure you were talking about it at one point. I
mean, I thought about getting a Yeti, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I thought about it, but after streaming a little bit, going back on the bot and watching myself and listening, it was good enough where I was like, maybe if I ever made it bigger on Twitch,
yeah,
and people really want me to, then yeah, I'd probably get a Yeti just because how good they sound.
Yeah.
But for right now, I'm just sticking with a headset.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it's just, it's preference. And ultimately, I think this a lot of this stuff's going to come down to preference. What, like, when building a computer, what do you want it to run? Build for that. Monitors, are you going to be competitive? Or you just want it to be pretty? That's okay if you just want it to be pretty. Do a 4K 60 FPS monitor.
Yeah.
60 hertz. It's fine. They look beautiful. Don't get me wrong. It looks great. Fantastic. It's just one of those things. Let's see. So we've done mouse, keyboard, headset, controllers, monitors. I gave a shout out to the Stream Decks. I know I'm missing some stuff here. We could just go into PC hardware if we wanted to. I'll start with hard drives because that can extend to consoles. What kind of hard drives are you running? I know you were running solid state and a mechanical.
As of right now, because I used to have an SSD in there.
Oh yeah, but you. Okay.
But I don't have the SSD in there anymore. So right now I just have a 2 terabyte like Western Digital hard drive, which I mean it's not as fast as an SSD, but I mean I still load everything up just fine.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm not worried about it. But I would recommend getting a 1 terabyte and higher hard drive. I would don't go 500 because you're gonna run out of room.
Yeah.
That's just it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think a lot of those console players understand that too at this point. PS4 and Xbox One, when they first came out, it was 500 gigabyte hard drives.
Yep.
And that lasted me probably a year when I couldn't afford games. So I only games once in a while. A year or so before I started deleting stuff. I have an SSD and a hard drive. The difference between those is SSD, you're just going to load faster. I know SSDs also have the perk of like less likely to like corrupt or something like that. Or I don't know. But I don't use them for that. I just got the SSD in this one because it was, everything was on sale or whatever, and it was in there. SSD loads games faster, so my like really big games or important games to me, I put on my SSD, where I just want them to load up as quick as possible and get into it, so I can get gaming as quick as possible. But I have a 2 terabyte hard drive though with it, and then the SSD is only 250. I pretty much, if a new game comes out that I really want to load up, like I'm gonna play Bleeding Edge and stuff, I'm probably gonna download Bleeding Edge on my SSD. But I'll have to delete something. I know Modern Warfare is on my SSD right now. I'll have to delete that shit and reinstall it on my hard drive. Unless I can just move that over. I'm not sure if I can. I have the game bought, so it's going to know it's purchased. I don't know. But anyways, that's one of those things like how many games are you going to play? If you're going to play a lot of games and you play a lot of games or you do a lot of stuff on your computer, then, bigger hard drives are going to be better. I know PS5 is looking at getting a 2 terabyte hard drive in the console for the same price point that they're going to release it at, but we don't know if they're going to or not. 2 terabytes SSD though is insane.
Oh yeah, that's really insane.
That's expensive as hell. So I don't see them doing the 2 terabytes in the same price point because another terabyte's almost another $100 or so, like for them. So. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with that. I know Xbox Series X is going to have a 1 terabyte SSD. So the games on the consoles are going to be loading a lot faster, which is good.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Because PS4 and Xbox One were like, virtually no load times and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right, well, we'll see. And when they came out, I was like, oh, no, I'm still loading quite a bit.
Nope.
Really.
It's a little bit faster than PS2. I give you that.
Yeah, it's faster, but it is. I still am loading things, and in fact, the games got bigger and harder to run. So now the loading times have kind of evened out a little bit, and so it's like, it's alright.
I mean, because as of right now, I think I have 3 or 4 games on my Xbox One, and it's the 500 gigabyte.
Yeah.
And I can't download any more games. Because it's too full. Like, I mean, I have a little bit left. Like, I could probably download, like, Netflix or something like that. Just a simple app, probably. But, I mean, that's the thing. Xbox One, I have 4 games, and I can't put anything else on it. I have to delete something to reinstall something.
Yeah.
Like the Fable, I had to uninstall Red Dead Redemption. But granted, Red Dead Redemption was a
Red Dead
pretty big file.
Yeah.
So I mean, that took most of it. But that's also a good reason why to get a 2 terabyte or a 1 terabyte.
Yeah.
Because these games that are coming out are really big.
Mm-hmm.
Red Dead Redemption, Grand Theft Auto, the new Call of Duty.
Oh yeah.
All these games that are coming out are so big, it's taking so much space. Yeah. So
Call of Duty's what was that? 120 gigabytes?
Yeah.
When we downloaded that shit.
That was crazy.
That's a hard drive right there. There's a 120 gigabyte hard drive you can buy, and that
just for one game.
That was just one game. And, I mean, that wouldn't even hold the whole thing because hard drives have, like, a little bit of room taken up by, software and stuff on them. So, I mean, that one game by itself, you play WoW on PC. WoW might be over 100 gigabytes now. I know it's getting up there, like 80 most of the time when I download it, I think. But,
yeah.
I mean, it's getting, it's getting pretty crazy, dude. These hard drives are becoming more and more important. And, it's something I didn't really care about as a kid. Even on PCs or anything, it seemed like I had enough memory for everything.
Yeah, not anymore.
Back in the PS2 days, I might have to buy one more memory card, but it was like 2 memory cards did it for me. And I mean, you've seen how many PS2 games I have stacked over there. Yeah. So, and GameCube, I did have to buy a few memory cards. GameCube had a lot less memory on stuff. But also, it depends what size memory card you buy and stuff like that.
I remember the PS2 ones because you would plug it in. It was right above where you plugged your controller in, and it was just like a 250 megabyte, right? Was it 250 megabytes? Or was it 250 gigabytes?
It might have been. What was it for?
PS2.
PS2. It might have been megabytes.
See that?
It was. I mean, it was probably megabytes for sure because megabytes is the smaller one. So.
See, that's what I was saying. I think that's what I ran on my PS2 games, whatever.
And, God dang, dude. That's not a big one, though.
Yeah, I mean, I would have, like, all the Madden games on it. Like, it was nuts. Cause,
God damn.
Yeah, back at that time, that's when Blockbuster was still there. I mean, yeah, we could go rent games and come back. And those things were crazy. It felt like I never had to delete anything.
Mm-hmm.
But now, I mean, of course, with the games getting so big, you're having to make space, unless if you have a big hard drive.
Yeah, the better the games get, and the better the games get, and the better the software and stuff in the games and everything like that, it's just gonna get bigger. So hard drives are important. So I would definitely go big or go home on the hard drive. If you're building a computer, for sure go big or go home. Like, because it's one of those things that it's like I have a 2 terabyte hard drive, which is not very expensive. A mechanical hard drive of that size isn't very expensive. It's like maybe $100. I know a few years ago I bought a 1 terabyte for like $80. So I would say now 2 terabytes probably about $100. So I mean that's no problem. $100 is, you can, realistically, if you're not paying too many bills or anything like that, you can get that from one paycheck. Yeah. It might take a couple checks, like 1 month at least for sure, of pay and stuff like that. You're gonna get that hard drive, even minimum wage. You're gonna get that hard drive. But when you go to that solid state drive, it's gonna be faster. It's going to be faster. It'll noticeably faster, but it's going to be noticeably more expensive. That's just how it is. But, yeah, I'd go big on that. I'd go big with solid state if you can afford it.
Yeah, but if you got the money for it, might as well.
Yeah.
But if you don't, if you want to save some money, then, yeah, just get a 2 terabyte hard drive, a regular one.
Yeah, moving on to more into the PC realm and stuff. RAM is important. RAM stands for random access memory, and RAM basically is, because it says memory like this is what always confused me when I was a kid, because I was like memory that's storage, stuff like that. No, when you're talking about PCs, they're gonna call a hard drive and stuff like that storage. They're gonna call memory how much like memory. It's like kind of like a short term. If you want to think about like a human or something like that, it's like a short term memory. Basically, it's like if I'm running Call of Duty might take. It wouldn't. I don't think it does. Maybe well, certain video games are gonna take more RAM than others. And here's the thing: some are based more on VRAM, video RAM, because your video card, your GPU, graphics card, whatever you want to call it, has so much RAM on it, VRAM on it. Like mine's 2080 Ti, 8 gig. And I know some people probably see that and are like, what is the 8 gig? Like, is that memory, like storage or something? No, that 8 gig, that number of gigabytes next to your graphics card, that's how much video RAM you have. And then RAM is, like, I'm running Audacity on my computer right now to record. Shout out to Audacity. Streamlabs OBS over here. Then I've got Discord pulled up in the background and Battle.net. I would say I have 16 gigabytes of RAM. I'd say maybe 4 gigabytes at the most is probably being used by all this stuff right now.
It's probably jumping around 4 to 6.
Yeah.
Just depending on what you're doing there.
Yeah, exactly. So it's more RAM is better. RAM isn't horribly expensive unless you get the RGB. Like I have RGB RAM in here, and so that, it also matters on what generation, because you're going to see DDR3, DDR4, and stuff like that when you get into RAM. It's going to depend on what generation you want to get and stuff like that. Obviously, you want the newest. That is everyone uses DDR4.
Yeah, it's like the normal right now.
Yeah. I know apparently DDR5 exists and is for sale and is out there. I haven't seen it and I haven't tried to purchase it. I don't care to, because they're already working on DDR6. So at this point, I'm sitting here like, well, I'll just wait. I'll just wait, save up some money, get the big shit when that comes out. But I have RGB though. RGB, if you ever hear us say RGB RAM or anything like that, it's just pretty colors. It changes pretty colors.
Yeah.
But basically, RAM is how much stuff you're going to be doing at one time. And, it comes down to that. If you're making YouTube videos and rendering stuff, it's going to depend on your video RAM more than your RAM. But RAM helps. RAM certainly helps that, too. You want RAM. It's another one that you probably want to go big or go home on the RAM, but you don't have to. If you're going for a low-budget build especially, you don't have to. 16 is a good average.
You try to get 16.
Yeah, at least 16 is going to help. You could do 8 if you're not trying to make any videos or anything like that, or do any streaming. Then 8 gigs will do what you need it to do. But I would go for 16, because there are some games once in a while that, like, if you want to run high quality especially, then you're going to want 16, because it'll take 8. But, yeah. So RAM's another one. Go big or go home on, I would say. Fans and stuff in your computer, just to hit on that real quick, because some people might be curious. The fans on your computer are liquid cooling. It doesn't really matter. If you go with fans, get a lot of fans. Get a high wattage power supply for them, but get a lot of fans. Or you can do liquid cooling too. Liquid cooling is fine. I know a lot of the bugs are like out of liquid cooling and stuff like that, because at first people were like their liquid cooling and stuff would explode in their computer and all kinds of stuff. That doesn't happen very often. It doesn't happen at all on mine. Mine's liquid cooled. The CPU is liquid cooled at least. Doesn't do anything. It's fine. So, that's just one of those things. Do you want it to look cool with all the tubes, or do you just want the fans in it and it to be cool? Obviously liquid cooling, it does do better. But it's expensive. It can be expensive. Yeah. Especially if you want to do it yourself. That's kind of hard to do. But, yeah, so move on from that real quick. Graphics card. We were talking about graphics cards earlier. You don't have to go big on the graphics card. You can go 980 Ti. That's what I would suggest bottom line right now. The minimum card I would go for right now is 980. You could go lower, and I'm talking NVIDIA and stuff like that. AMD... We here at Darksky Gaming Podcast have a problem with AMD. Mm-hmm. they're getting better, and we've acknowledged that they're getting better. Generally, you want to prioritize RAM over VRAM. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, when I started streaming, I had a 1060 gigabyte graphics card, or 1060, not gigabyte, 1063 gigabyte. VRAM graphics card, and I was streaming fine. Really, there are certain games I couldn't stream like on high quality and stuff like that, but and I had 16 gigabytes of RAM, and it worked. Everything worked fine the way it was supposed to. Videos rendered about just as fast as they do now. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's just for sure RAM is more important than VRAM. I wouldn't slack on the VRAM though, since we're on the graphics card thing. If you're gonna go back and get a 980 minimum, I would still look for the 8 gig 980s. Just because having that extra VRAM is good, it helps. But if you can't, that's fine. Go for what is the smallest one on 980? I think it's 3 or 4 on 980.
Yeah, somewhere on there.
Yeah, go for that. If you're not doing anything else, go for it. Fine. I talk from a streaming standpoint. Obviously, if you're just playing games, which is most of our audience probably, if you're just playing games, fucking, it's fine. it's good. You're fine with it. CPUs. CPUs are important.
Yep.
For a lot of things. There's a lot of games coming out nowadays that take a lot more CPU. When I started streaming and stuff like that, it wasn't that way. It seemed like it took more RAM and VRAM and stuff like that, graphic card power and stuff like that to play games. Nowadays, it seems like CPU is extreme. I mean, CPU's always been important to a point, but CPU's like really important now, dude. Really. Like, Call of Duty is heavy on that fucking CPU. If you want to stream, you need that CPU. CPU is another one that I would say will probably be one of your most expensive, should be one of your most expensive pieces in your PC.
Yeah.
Motherboard's important too. Don't let me slack on that. I'm not dissing on the motherboard. But I will say my other PC I was streaming on before this has a mini motherboard. So, motherboards are important to an extent, but CPU I would say is the most important part for whatever you're going to do in your PC. I don't care if you're doing photography and you're doing Photoshop and stuff like that. I have Photoshop on my PC right now. I was just making a thumbnail the other day. I checked my fucking task manager just to see. Photoshop takes up a fair bit of fucking CPU. I was like, what the fuck? But CPU is important. No matter what you're doing, CPU is always going to be important. So that's another one for sure. I'd say the 3 biggest things that are important to me in a PC is going to be RAM, CPU, and what was the other one? Oh, hard drive. That's the 3 biggest things to me, and that's what's going to make my shit expensive, and that's what does make my shit expensive. But, motherboards can be a little costly. I don't really see many good like, I see some that are like up there on like $300 range and stuff like that, but you don't need that shit. My motherboard that's in here was on sale or whatever. It's like $150 now, maybe $200 depending where you're getting it from. It's not super. A good breakpoint is 3.2 gigahertz or better. Oh, on the CPU. Yeah. See, something on the CPU is like mine, just to kind of give you an idea here. My CPU is, let's see where we're at here, 3.6 gigahertz. It's just 3.6 is more than you need. 3.2, like Valion said in the chat, 3.2 is probably that minimum I'd go on a CPU in terms of like gigahertz and stuff like that. If you don't know what gigahertz are, it's a little GHz. That's all you need to know. GHz on the fucking, when you're looking at them and stuff. It's just, the CPU is super important. Yeah. Like, I can't stress that enough. CPU is one of the most important pieces to me. But that's because I do a lot. I know your CPU is pretty good too. You got, what is it, i7 7700?
Yeah, it's something like that. I mean, it's only 3.2 gigahertz too.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like a beast of a CPU, but if you do get a CPU, try to get at least an i7.
Yeah.
I mean, because like there's some people, because I'll see they have like an i6, And like that, I mean, they're still good CPUs, but the problem is they're also trying to stream on the i6. You can somewhat do it, but they're having trouble. But I would definitely recommend, if you're going to get a CPU, get an i7 or above.
Yeah. Then, you know, touching the motherboards real quick. Again, not super important. They are important, obviously, especially if you want to put more and more stuff on them. And obviously, that's where you're going to get your, like, what kind of internet can it handle? You know, how many sticks of RAM can you put in it? How many graphics cards can you put in it? You know, it just depends on that kind of stuff. Are you going to be running gig internet? Then, yeah, get a little bit better motherboard that's going to handle the gig internet. Do you want a lot of RAM? Do you want 4 sticks of fucking, 16 or whatever? You know, then fucking, you know, go for that, or 4 sticks of 8, or whatever the highest is in one stick that you can get right now. You know, then that's fine. If you're gonna run dual GPUs or fucking quad GPUs, if you want to run that, it's gonna take some. You're gonna need some power supply for that. But if you want to do that, then, you know, just buy accordingly. The motherboard, and obviously, newer motherboards can take older stuff, but older motherboards can't take newer stuff, like terms of CPUs and RAM and especially graphics cards and stuff, because there's certain graphics card, you know, there's what is it called, pins and stuff like that when it comes to plugging in graphics cards and stuff. You really want to make sure that stuff's going to fit, and ultimately it's going to be one of those things that no matter what I tell you, you just need to, that's one of those things you need to look up. If you're building your computer or anything like that ever, you need to just look it up and be like, go to Google. It's as simple as going to Google and be like, will this graphics card fit into this, you know, thing? And something's going to come up to say, well, this has this many pins, this motherboard only has...
I think you can go to PC Part Picker.
Yeah.
And then you can pick what you want, and it'll tell you what can go with it.
Yeah.
So that can give you an idea.
I want to say Newegg has a thing like that too. Well, they at least have the section where it's like, say you're buying a motherboard, and it'll say, people who bought this also bought, you know, and so generally that gives you an idea of, okay, if they bought this and they bought these things, it probably fits. Obviously that's not 100% correct, but PC Part Picker is a good one. Case doesn't matter.
Nah, not really.
If you want more stuff in your case, buy a bigger case.
Yeah, that's all that is.
Yeah, it's one of those things. If you want transparent side, buy a different case, you know. PC Part Picker is also industry approved unofficially. Yeah, exactly. So it's just, PC Part Picker is good. It's probably the best resource I can. This podcast is not like, we're telling you stuff we prefer and stuff like that, and the things that we like out of PCs. Obviously, this is going to be more opinion than anything. I'm trying to give you the best educational answers as I can too. A little bit more informational on this episode, but you know, that's just we're still talking from our experience, our opinions and stuff. PC Part Picker, if you want to run, you know, you want to do a good PC, 2 things I would recommend is a website called Can I Run It or something like that. If you're looking to play PUBG or something like that, go to this website, type in the name of the game. It'll have this little CPU ID thing that you download, and checks your computer, and it's like, no, you can't run it. You need this, this, and this. Okay, go look at it. Can your computer take this, this, and this? Go to PC Part Picker to see if it can and stuff like that. You know, see if these things are compatible with your motherboard and your CPU. You know, those 2 resources right there will help you every single day of the week in building your PC. Your gaming PC, at least. But to step away from that, I don't know. Is there much more gaming hardware than that? Like gaming hardware? Obviously, there's things like VR and stuff like that. But we've touched on VR in the VR episode. Let's see. There's, like I said, DisplayPort. I would go with DisplayPort. You know, if you're just sitting there like, well, do I want to hook up my monitor through HDMI just to get obscure? Do I want to hook up my monitor through HDMI or DisplayPort? I'd always go DisplayPort, but it's going to be, the cords are more expensive and stuff like that. Because they allow for a higher refresh rate than HDMI cords do. But it's still not necessarily. I didn't say it like that, but hey. But yeah. I think that's pretty much all the parts that we can talk. Power supply, I realize I didn't touch on power supply.
Yeah.
The bigger the better on power supply. Obviously,
much.
if you're trying to save on the electric bill, you might need to really look at it and just see just how much you need. Like I have 650 watt in my PC. I still have room in my PC, but if I try to overclock or anything like that, I'm gonna start running into some issues. So power supplies, I would say, are another one that if you can go big on the power supply, I don't see any reason in you not going big on the power supply. It'll just help. Because then you'll have that power that if you want to put another stick of RAM in it, well, then you can now. If you want to put another graphics card in it, especially if you want to put 4 graphics cards in it, then you got to have that power supply, Audio cards, I know it's weird, but high-def sound can make a big difference determining whether or not that footstep you hear is coming from left or right, but that's like 1% of players who can utilize that. So Simphus.
No.
Yeah, audio cards are important. My sound card is it's a 3D premium surround sound onboard card, so it sounds fancy. All that basically means is that's a generic ass sound card. You can go bigger on sound cards, on audio cards and stuff like that, but that's a lot of times when you get like sound cards tend to come with other stuff. I've noticed when looking at parts, I've noticed like especially motherboards, stuff like that, they tend to just come with them anyways. Sometimes I guess it depends where you're buying them from though. I buy like on Newegg, so it's gonna offer me a lot of bundles and stuff like that. It's just that's another one of those things. Do you want to be part of that 1% that you can really really fucking tell, or you want to you can look up whatever the generic fucking shit is. Everybody's using like the average video card or audio card and stuff. I wouldn't say it's super important if you're just trying to be competitive, yeah. But even then, when I got this one, I didn't pay attention to the audio card that was on it. I just fucking got it, and it's fine. It works fine with me. My HyperX headset over here has a 7.1 surround sound thing that I push on, and it makes the audio a little bit more clear, a little bit more crisp, and it really helps me on footsteps and stuff like that. Hell, sometimes I hear shots that Simphus can't hear on Escape from Tarkov, even though I don't know what they always sound like, but I can hear them. Sometimes I'm like, what the fuck was that? And he'll be like, what? And I'm like, no, never mind. But, it's just one of those things. Do you want that extra little bit of help, that extra advantage there? Anybody in the chat at this point, if anybody in the chat's got any suggestions or any questions about any hardware or anything like that, or our preferences on any kind of hardware, then, shoot us your shot in the chat right now. Otherwise, I'll take it back to TVs for regular gaming and stuff like that. If you're not using a monitor, if you're going to use a TV, there are certain TVs that still go 120 hertz and stuff like that. Honestly, you don't need anything. You don't need 120 hertz on a regular gaming system right now because they only go up to 60 FPS anyways. If you do 120, then it's going to be a little smoother, but not because you're seeing extra frames, just because it's, refreshing at a higher rate too. What about keyboard or mouse or microphone maybe? Well, we talked about those before you got in here, Officer Pecker. I'll run through them again. Again, I prefer Logitech and wireless, but some people prefer lighter mice and stuff like that with wires, like Simphus over here has a Final mouse. My keyboard's Razer Black Widow and stuff. My microphone's Blue Yeti. Wired keyboard and mouse 100%. Yeah, the number game and everything like that is like what am I trying to say? The facts and stuff are there with the wired stuff. Wired stuff is better, but I use this wireless mouse, and I do better on Call of Duty than Simphus does. No, but last time, I've played with him on games, and once in a while I do better than him. He's using that Final mouse and wired, and I'm using wireless. I'm not a better gamer than him. Don't let me misconstrue that with some of you guys. I use wireless, and I want the Logitech G Pro because that's like one of the best wireless mice you're gonna find. And there's a lot of people that say that they can't tell the difference. And I think that's one of those things that like Shroud or Simphus or someone like really good at video games might be able to tell the difference. But ultimately,
I'd have to try it.
Yeah, ultimately it's one of those things you probably won't. When the batteries get low on this one, I know some wireless mice are rechargeable and stuff like that, or they have a cord and stuff, so that's cool. Mine takes batteries. When the batteries get low, it gets a little sketchy. we get a little sketchy. We start running into some issues there. But ultimately, that's another one of those things. Are you going to sit back and play your game and, like, you know, you want the freedom of the wireless mouse and stuff? Or do you want to get up front and be, like, up here, like, in front of everybody and, you know, and really, really be able to fucking play the game, you know? Then wired mouse for sure. And wired keyboard too. I wouldn't go with a wireless keyboard. I don't think wireless keyboards are where they need to be. Wireless mice are getting there. Wireless keyboards, no. I would not say they're there. I don't know any pro or anything that uses wireless keyboard. I don't know a single one. There might be. I'm sure there is. I'm sure there's one out there that, like, someone told me, I'd be like, oh damn. But I don't know anybody that uses wireless keyboards. Don't use that shit. Just get a wired keyboard. You know, you can get some with long cords and stuff like that. Just get the wired keyboard. And what's up, Deep Dish Legend? Welcome, dude. Thank you for the follow as well. It's not only a matter of it quitting on you mid-game, but the lag output is worse on wireless. Yeah, for sure. It is worse. Like I said, G Pro is one of those ones where people are like, really like I don't know because I can't tell. But like the numbers, though, if you look at the numbers on it and stuff like that, it's going to be worse. It's always going to be a little worse, I think. But then again, I don't play as hardcore as Simphis does. I mean, I consider myself a pro at Realm Royale at this point, and even though they don't do enough stuff for me to consider myself a pro necessarily, but, and I mean, I'd say I'm insane, pretty insane at that game, and I use a wireless mouse, and it's fine. Obviously, maybe if someone was exactly my skill level, then we might be able to tell the difference. Someone like came out and like, we were super even in the fight and stuff, and he just seemed like his aim was a little better and stuff like that, then that might come down to the mouse. But, you know, it's one of those things. Wireless mice are less of a sin over wireless keyboards, 100%. Oh, yeah. Yeah, 100%. Shroud uses wireless mouse. I didn't know that till recently, but Shroud uses a G Pro, I think. And maybe something else. No, I think he uses G Pro. And look at him. But, you know, it's hard to beat Shroud. But, Shroud. But, yeah, so it's one of those things that's like, you know, certain things wired and certain things wireless are going to be better. I wouldn't go with wireless headsets. I know people that do wireless headsets. I know people that do Bluetooth, like, headphones and stuff like that for their gaming and stuff. Do not do that shit. I'm going to tell you right now, it's lagged. It's lagged behind a little bit. You might hear a footstep that just happens to hit right behind you in a video game, but you might hear it a second too late, dude. Yeah,
they'll be already on you.
Do not use that wireless fucking headset, bro. Wireless mouse is the only thing I would go for wireless. Only thing. Also, mechanical keyboards have an advantage over non-mechanical or softs. It's very minor, but mechanicals have faster input reaction. See, that might be it. I was talking about mechanical keyboards and stuff earlier and why I use them. And I always feel like when I'm not using mechanical one, it just really feels like the input isn't going through. Like, it just doesn't feel right. This mechanical one I hit a button and that shit happens. That shit happens the instant I hit it. Or it feels like the instant. I'm sure there's lag, but... So, yeah, mechanical keyboards I still would suggest, but I know some people don't like them, and some people are annoyed by them, and I get a lot of people in my chat. Not a lot of people. I get people in my chat once in a while, be like, man, you gotta switch that fucking keyboard. Cough, cough, wicked. Oh, man, I was really hoping he was here, too. I was like, look at you, wicked. But, yeah, some people don't like the sound of the mechanical keyboards and stuff like that, and... Do you want to be better at the game, or you really care about the sound that much, you know? Where's Bearded Morris? Bearded Morris had to go. He made it through about 20 minutes of the podcast, but then he had family emergency thing come up. So we carried on without him here. We wish him the best, and his family, and everything like that, obviously. He'll be back for the next episode, I'm sure. But yeah, tonight, it's just the two pros.
The two Realm Royale pros.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, Simphis is a Realm Royale pro, and this man don't even fucking play the game. He's just that damn good, dude. Yeah, damn. Yeah. So, for those of you on the YouTube comments in the future, by the way, leave him and his family your well wishes and stuff like that in the comments. If you wanna, anyone to feel better about anything like that, or you feel bad or anything, then yeah, leave him your well wishes in the comments there, and comments on whatever software you listen to. What 2 pros, only 1 pro? Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, he's talking about me. Sorry, Simphus. But yeah. Unless we have any more people in the chat looking to give us their opinion on anything. I don't know if I didn't look through the chat to see if we have anything from earlier. I have a 1 terabyte Xbox One and 2 terabyte hard drive. Yeah, I forgot Xbox Ones can do external hard drives. Yeah. So that works. Thank you for the bits, by the way, Officer Packer. I appreciate that. What is that? 25, 45, 70, 100, 110. Nice. Thank you, man. You cheered 324 this month? You mean like 320 or something? I don't let single bits go through. Unless he like cheered 11 or something like that at one point. Your opinions on AMD are wrong given current generation, but that's an argument we'll have another day. I don't guess we touched on it, but I was gonna make a point to say AMD is getting better. We may have said it. AMD is getting better. This newest stuff that just came out is supposedly like the new consoles are using AMD Ryzen stuff, and PS5 I think has like just a little bit better. Like they have a Ryzen something. Like they have a better GPU or something in there that's just barely better. But so I mean, obviously there is something to AMD stuff. I only have experience with NVIDIA stuff, so I can't tell. Like if I tell you graphics cards or RAM or anything like that, I'm gonna tell you stuff compatible with NVIDIA stuff all day every day. I just don't know like a lot of AMD stuff because ever since I've started playing PC, it's always been the worst thing, and it's getting better. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen people talking about it, and I've read the stats and stuff. They're getting better for sure. I'm not like completely hating on AMD. Just speaking on like from the time I got my PC and back, AMD's always been trash. So that's just my output on that. Current AMD tech completely outshines NVIDIA and Intel. I've heard NVIDIA's gonna make. Wait, was it NVIDIA? No, Intel's gonna make graphics cards. Like they're going back to try to make more graphics cards, but like they're actually gonna try to make gaming graphics cards. That's interesting. Research Threadripper when you have the time. See, I've heard that. What is that? Threadripper.
I don't know. I've heard it, but I'm not sure what it is.
But yeah. Okay, I'll do my research on that though. But yeah. So Valiant's saying that current AMD, like this generation AMD stuff, this new stuff, is actually better than NVIDIA and Intel.
Well,
so.
Yeah, the new one that just came out is supposedly better than the i9.
Really?
So.
That's I saw that. I saw an article about that. Yeah, I didn't read it though. I just saw it. I was like, huh.
Yeah, I mean,
I just kind of passed it up.
I mean, it makes sense because AMD is trying to be on the top now. So the way to do it is you have to be Intel. Intel was like the main. That's what everybody gets. Everybody gets Intel.
Maybe that's why Intel's trying to go the graphics card game, because they're like, oh, you want to try to beat us, bitch? We're going to beat you at your own game.
I mean, that's the thing, though, is because like Intel came out with like i9 and all this stuff. Then I think it's like a few months later, AMD finally just shoots up and passes Intel. Of course, they're going to pass them because Intel's not coming out with anything right now. So that's why AMD is on top. Eventually, AMD will just push something out that's better than AMD. That's just how it goes. They're just going to fight back and forth.
Yeah.
I mean,
ultimately, it's another one of those things. It's like, do you like these things are just gonna like. I'm sure AMD is better right now than NVIDIA, like on their graphics card or they're better than Intel on their CPU or whatever. But next generation of Intel is gonna push AMD out. It's just one of those things. Like, do you want to wait for the next thing that's gonna be better? Do you want what's better right now? Do you want what more people rely on? It's just. If you're a numbers guy and you go by the numbers and by the straight information, then yeah. It'll always be an ongoing debate. Competition is healthy. Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing. It's just, and that's one of those things that I think it's healthy to get into in a way where you're like, my friend uses NVIDIA, but I'm gonna start using, AMD and stuff like that because I hear AMD is better. And then when you get into it, you and your friend like AMD, NVIDIA, and that's fun and that's healthy and stuff like that. Where people are constantly like bickering about that stuff. It's not important, but obviously it's it's like sports teams or something in a way. And they're gonna go constantly back and forth, and that's good. You don't need either one of them to reign eternally over the other because then that company's just gonna die and go under, and that's jobs and just everything. So just use if you do your research and you like AMD better, use AMD. And it's just based on our experience and stuff like that. Again, this is a conversational podcast where we're always going to come at you with more opinions than anything, and I'll hit you with the facts and stuff like that sometimes, but it's always going to come down to, well, we like this better, or we're biased towards this or whatever. So you should probably mention that motherboards are specifically tied to Intel or AMD, so choose carefully. PC part picker helps. Yeah, that's another thing. I don't know why I didn't hit that. Motherboards, that's the one thing important about them. If you choose an AMD motherboard, you have to choose a compatible motherboard to AMD software, or to AMD hardware, software, whatever. And same thing with Intel as well. I use Intel and NVIDIA stuff, so the motherboard I use that I shouted out earlier probably isn't going to work if you're using AMD stuff. Just saying. Yeah. But I know their pins are different like that and stuff, and it's just more or less pins in either one. Yeah, it's just so that is important to state. I'm glad that he brought that up because we would have had people running out there being like I built this PC and it don't even work. What the heck? These things don't fit. That's when I'd be like, well, we told you to use that PC part picker, didn't we? Yeah. But yeah. So tonight I'll stream tonight, obviously, but tomorrow night I'm going to be going back to Realm Royale to stream some Realm Royale. I haven't played it in a while. I've got a Sound Like a Dude. Shout out to Sound Like a Dude. She's another Twitch streamer. She's pretty cool. Spoiler alert. Her name is Sound Like a Dude because she's a female. She has a deeper voice. She doesn't really sound like a dude, though. But go check it out yourself, though. Goddamn. But yeah, so I'll be streaming Realm Royale. So for those of you that have missed me playing a little bit of Realm Royale, I'll be back on that tomorrow night, showing her how it's done, and then after that, it's Saturday Night Fright night. Saturday Night Fright. Is that? I think it's Saturday Night Fright night. Anyways, I'll be playing scary games after that, though. That's a new thing I'm doing on Saturday night. And then if the game was good enough, I'm editing re-uploads and stuff like that to go up weekly or daily or whatever on the channel as well. It takes a lot of fucking time, dude. I need to get an editor, man. I was editing that first Amnesia video, and even though I only just cut certain stuff out and everything, I didn't put any super cool edits or anything in. Yeah. I was like, God dang it, dude. I was like, fuck, this takes time. I love editing, but then sometimes it's it takes a lot of time is the problem with it. Because then it ran into my stream time last weekend. I don't think I streamed on Sunday night, or maybe I did. Either way, yeah, so I'll be playing that. She's hot. God damn it. But, yeah. So I'll be playing that tomorrow night. Simphus, you playing or streaming anything tonight?
Nah. Tonight I'm probably gonna pass out when I go home.
Yeah, this for our Twitch viewers, by the way. Since this episode goes up tomorrow, it's on Saturday for us because we're recording on Friday today. Then obviously you guys will just have to catch the Saturday Night, Friday night thing and stuff. But
yeah, I'll probably be streaming Saturday, but not tonight. Tonight I'm too tired.
Alright, well, there you go. Bearded, catch him on Simphus's channel, playing with him, or on his own channel sometimes, maybe. Bearded Moors, probably
random.
Not. but you can catch him there. Catch me on Zenith Darksky. All my socials everywhere is Zenith Darksky, some version of Zenith Darksky. Simphus, by the way, is CENFUSS. I spell that out every time just because I know some people are like, well, I put SINFUS. I don't know what the fuck?
But, and now there's a SONFUSS.
I miss both. Playroom where I'm calling off. Shout out. Yeah, shout out to Samfist and Bearded Moors. But anyways, thank you guys for listening to this episode. I know this was probably a little bit less entertaining just because we had our really opinionated guy kind of gone right now. We had factual versus experience. We didn't have our opinions in here, but that's fine. You know, you gotta take care of what you gotta take care of. So this is more informational. I understand. Understand not every episode is gonna be like that. So if you came here for the informational, you're here. Cool. Thank you. We give out information. Just a lot of times it's tied to opinions. This time just so it wasn't so much, but that's fine. We just more wanted to talk about gaming hardware because it's important. It still is important. You know, people gonna want to know what is the best gaming hardware. What do you guys use? I like the sound of your stuff or the look of your stuff. What do you use and stuff? You know. So, anyways, you can catch us at those socials. My YouTube, the re-upload goes up to YouTube every week, like Wednesday-ish, Monday through Wednesday-ish, sometime in there, whenever I feel like uploading it, like downloading it and exporting and uploading and shit. Spotify. My Spotify guys. Thank you guys so much for all the support, man. We've got way more Spotify listeners than we do on anything, dude. I say that. We've got a lot on YouTube, too. But we've got a lot on Spotify. Spotify and YouTube are, like, right there neck and neck, which is funny to me because Bearded was like, oh, I don't know what they watches their podcasts on. Is that good and Bearded right there?
Good enough.
Nobody watches podcasts on YouTube. Well, yeah, they do, man. Let me tell you. Apparently they do. I agreed with him almost a little bit because I was like, yeah, I mean, it's obviously not the prime spot for podcasts.
Yeah,
but
I mean, most people will just listen like when they're running, driving, or something like that.
But apparently there's a lot of you out there watching some podcasts on YouTube. So we appreciate the YouTube guys. But Spotify, I didn't expect Spotify to be the one. I expected Podbean, because that's what I use.
Podbean was kicking off there for a little bit.
Podbean was the best one for a while, and then just fucking Spotify just boom, fucking took off, bro. I don't know what happened, but shout out to my Spotify listeners. Thank you guys so much. Remember, the best way to spread a podcast is...
by word of mouth.
By word of mouth, that's right. I don't know why. I don't know why people don't listen to ads and stuff about podcasts, but for some reason, people don't give a shit about ads for podcasts. But if you tell them, I listened to this podcast because it's really interesting and cool, those motherfuckers are like, yes! they really buy into that word of mouth shit. So word of mouth is the best way to advertise for us. So I appreciate if you guys did that for us. Share us around on your Facebook, Instagram, whatever. I don't care. Tag me in it and I'll comment. Yeah. Send us suggestions or feedback. Suggestions for topics or feedback on what we're talking about or anything like that. Send us those suggestions on the YouTube comments. Email me at darkskyGameNews@gmail.com. Come into the Twitch chat. Tell me about it in the Twitch chat. Maybe not on stream, on this stream, obviously, but like when I'm playing some games, dude, I'm 100% interactive. If you have a problem with the podcast, come tell me in the Twitch chat. I will fix it. I mean, these guys understand. They probably get sick of me because sometimes I'll get some fucking feedback and, I get serious for a little bit and I'm like, hey, we gotta do this and this. And, again, not to sound like a dick to them or anything like that. It's just one of those things I take it super seriously. And if we get feedback, it's important because that means someone didn't like something and we want to please people. But also we want it to be fun for us, though. So that's what we're trying to find a balance between.
It's like a happy medium.
Yeah, exactly. So, we're trying to compromise. This is a marriage. The divinity expert. Okay, well, alright. Yep. What is that called? Ahigo? Whatever. Those faces, those little anime faces. I'm into it. But, I just don't want to buy bathwater from anybody. But,
Nope.
Yeah, so word of mouth, best way to do that stuff. Suggestions, topics, darkskyGameNews@gmail.com. All my socials. Bearded, he's got a Twitter at Bearded Moors. In Symphysis chat, I'm sure he'd be more than willing to, if he can't necessarily do something about it himself, he'll tell me about it. We need that feedback. Come join my Discord. There's a link to it on my Twitch. All you have to do is go into the Twitch !Discord in the chat, whether I'm online or offline. It'll come up. Join the Discord. And we are really interactive on there. We respond to people all the time, whether it's a joke or serious or whatever. Anyways, thank you guys again for watching. We're going to put the piece here. for Bearded Moors at the end. But yeah, I'm Zenith Darksky. This is Simphus, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
See ya.
All right, my Twitch dudes. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys specifically for watching. Remember the re-upload, the unedited re-upload is going to go up to YouTube this week for you guys. If you missed any parts of this or anything like that. I know that, how the fuck did he get that? Did he?
He might have used
He might have used his points. I was like, how do you use that fucking emote? It's like, I don't see a fucking sub. I was like, what do you not sub? Thank you, what is that? Divinity Expert? Thank you for that follow, dude. I appreciate that. Deep Dish Legend. I appreciate that, and I love your name.
Deep Dish Legend. Hell yeah.
I appreciate that.
Love
dude.
that name.
I feel like you and Simphus are going to get along, so check out his streams, too. He's a pizza man. He likes pizza. Yeah, thank you guys. It was a good episode. It was a fun episode. Obviously, it was a little bit more boring, probably, in a sense, to certain people. It wasn't as entertaining this time.
Yeah, I didn't really get like any story time in there.
Yeah,
but
it's a lot of hardware, a lot of info to deal with.
Yeah, that was a lot of info. Limited
amount of time. So we hit you with the info. We didn't have opinions. If we had Mr. Opinion here, then he probably would have been able to yell at us a little bit for certain stuff, like I like this. God damn it. But yeah. So thank you guys for watching. Though next week I feel bad because we go live like Friday or Saturday and people never know. But it's to be fair, it's because Bearded works, to be transparent with you guys, Bearded works a hectic schedule. He works a busy, hectic schedule. Sometimes he might not be able to get here till 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock on Saturday. Sometimes he might not be able to get here till 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock on Friday. Sometimes it might be 6:30 on fucking Friday or something, So it's just one of those things that, that I would update you guys if I knew ahead of time, but we don't. Like, it's just one of those things that some days he doesn't even know if he's going to get off that day till late or anything anyways. And we have to push it back. So I can't necessarily be like, hey, we planned for it to be this day. Because chances are it might not be that day. And I don't want you guys getting your hopes up for a specific day. So just pay attention to notifications.
Yeah, honestly, just follow the channel.
Yeah.
Just, specifically follow Zenith's channel. Because that's what we do the podcast on. Mm. Of course, it doesn't matter. Like, as soon as that goes on, or live, or Bearded Morse goes live, I have it hosted automatically. Yeah. So even if you jumped on mine, you're still going to get to him either way.
Yeah, if you jump on the other guys on their channels, you'll see us. You'll still see us.
You'll always
They're giving me the host. I think if you comment on those, it still comes to me anyway. Yeah. Like, I still think we see it too. So it's just, just keep those fucking notifications on. Like, I cannot stress that enough. I don't keep notifications on for a lot of people when I feel bad because I don't have notifications on. I don't think I have notifications on for anyone except for like One Man Wolfpack. I have his on because I got a thing for that, but I barely have anybody's notifications on, and that's just because I don't have a lot of time to watch streams unless I'm at work, so I don't want to get bothered throughout the day or on my own streams while I'm doing that. But for you guys, if you want to catch us, if you want to put your input in earlier, or you want to be here for the whole episode, for the love of God, hit that notification stuff. It doesn't help me. Like, it's not one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, everybody that, it gives me an extra follow for everybody that hits notifications or whatever. It doesn't do anything to me, for me. It only does, it only helps you. Do you want to see the content? Fucking notifications. For the love of God. For the love of God. Mm-hmm. But yeah, thank you guys. I won't edit this and throw it up until tomorrow anyways. So, I'll probably go live again here. 12 o'clock's the latest. I try to go live on Friday nights. I say Friday nights. It's Saturday morning by that point. But still, on Fridays, midnight, Saturday, Friday, is the latest I try to go to live. So, I'm going to be back live here shortly. If you want to see us play some games, I'm going to be playing Doom, probably. I was playing Witcher 3. Even though it got a lot of votes, a lot of people weren't coming out. And it's not one of those things where I want to play what's going to give me the views.
It's probably the TV hype.
But it was, I think TV hype wore off that game a little bit. And so now people, even though they voted to watch Witcher 3, they probably aren't interested in it anymore because they realize, oh crap, The game is not as much actiony as I thought, because that was.
Yeah.
Let me just hit that real quick. A lot of people watching that series were like, well, "There's not enough action." One, the series was based on the books. The books does not have as much action as the game. Two, the game does not have. It's not a super action-packed game. It has combat. The combat's fun to me. The game is more about the story than anything. It's a 200-hour game. I'd say 80 of those hours are cutscenes.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, even the TV show, I mean, a lot of people won't agree about it, but I thought it was perfect. I mean, there was some fighting in there. There was a
exactly.
lot of
Give you a good balance.
And we got the story. As long as you kept up. It's not one of those shows that you can just have it on a second monitor and play a game.
Yeah, you
because
have to pay attention
it's going back and forth. You have to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love getting into TV shows.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I watch TV is the story. Like Tifa, I hate the fucking shit she watches because she watches like Grey's Anatomy and shit like that. Where I'm like, I want to watch this shit, but then I get into it because the story. If like I'm sitting there and it's good writing and shit, so I'm sitting there like, oh man, and then she'll just hear me. So what's wrong with this person? Like, because I would like walk in halfway through an episode or something, and the story is my shit, dude. The story on fucking
it gets you
stuff
hooked.
is my shit. Also, remember, guys, if you're watching on Twitch right now, because stuff like this before and after the podcast, eventually we'll probably do like an actual like pre-show, post-show type thing. But right now we just talk for a little bit before and after, just to you guys and stuff. So you guys get that perk. So be sure to follow us and stuff on here, especially if you just like our casual conversations before and after, because that's where you'll get the more off-topic side of things is when we're not on topic, like when we're don't have to be on topic and stuff like that.
Yeah, we normally talk for like 5 minutes or something like that.
Yeah,
before
like 15-20 minutes before the podcast.
It's one of those things. It's like as soon as he starts up stream, we're already sitting down talking just about random crap. Then eventually we'll get into the podcast. Then at the end of the podcast, I mean, we may have some stories.
Yeah.
So, I mean, honestly, Twitch is a good way to, like... Interact with us because we're just talking randomly.
Yeah, randomly, exactly. So, again, anyways, guys, I'll be playing Doom here in a little bit. I'm probably about halfway through the game, so I'll probably beat it tonight on the stream and switch to another single-player game or something for a little bit, too. I don't know, I might go see if multiplayer doesn't have cheaters on it right now. I don't know, we'll see. But, so if you guys want to see some of that content and stuff, then that's coming up shortly after the stream. I'm going to go hang out with the wife for a little bit and everything like that. But yeah, thank you guys so much. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate all the feedback, stuff like that. I'm telling you guys, feedback helps. Because, like, for a while there, we're noticing views going down. And I was, you can ask them, I was fucking stressed. I was like, what? I don't understand. I was like, maybe we need to do this, maybe we need to do that. Finally, some people hit me and they're like, hey, this was too informational. Because we were freaking out. Episode 2 kind of made us feel like we went way too informational on it and stuff. And so finally we got feedback. People being like, hey, this was too informational. And then we got feedback here a little bit ago after the episode where we went a little too loose on the topic and stuff. And so, we're trying to tighten it up a little bit, focus a little bit, but we're not trying to hyper-focus like we did on episode 2,
Yeah, you have to work with us.
Yeah.
Because we're learning as we're going.
Yeah. If you guys want our podcast to succeed, want us to do better, and you want us to cover topics you want us to talk about and stuff like that, you got to tell us. That's the best way to help us out. It's the best way to improve the podcast is tell us. It's not even money, If you want to sub to the channel or whatever like that, or donate or whatever, that's fine. Eventually, I know a lot of podcasts have like Patreon and stuff like that. Eventually, if we started Patreon, you want to support us that way, cool. You don't have to. Feedback is the number one thing that's going to help us improve this podcast. That, and eventually when I get a better mic than this, because I just feel like I want a better mic and get some foam pads and stuff in here. I got to talk to Lamb about that. He was saying he was willing to get me some, and I was like, I might take you up on that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so thank you guys. Love you, bye. Bye, Uncle Pecker. Are you Uncle Pecker now? Is that what this is? I've seen him call you Uncle Pecker a few times now.
I hope not.
I hope not. Anyways, again, thank you guys. I'll see you guys in a little bit for the Doom. Doom. This episode's gonna go up on the podcasting apps and stuff tomorrow, so be sure when I put those out, share them around to your friends and stuff like that. I'll see you guys again. Thank you.